I found something. You gotta check this out.
Who plays board games anymore?
Yo, what's this?
Jumanji. Pick a character and you're that person in the game.
Bethany, you in?
I don't spend my life staring at a TV screen. Fine.
Oh my god!
Where's my hair?
Where's the rest of me?
Oh my god, we're in different people's bodies!
Bethany, don't look at it!
No! I'm an overweight middle-aged man. Wait a second. Where's my phone? Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
Welcome back to Arise Entertainment 360. I love that movie, Jumanji.
Yes. You know, I don't think anyone forgets where they were when they watched the first installment.
I know.
I will forever remember being in the Odeon Cinema in Swiss Cottage, watching and crying. And you'll remember our first guest from the blockbuster Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
That's right, and now he's in another film called The Last Full Measure, which I'm sure will also be a huge success. Sir Darius Blain, welcome to Arise 360.
Hello.
That is an interesting name.
Thank you very much.
Right?
You read my mind. I was going to ask. It's Sir Darius, spelled S-E-R, but it sounds like Sir Darius.
You can take
Where'd
it
it
that
come
way if
from?
you want to, but it's actually it's Persian and Latin. It means to be, prosperity, and plenty. Ser in Latin means to be. Dariush in Persian means prosperity and plenty. Yeah, so
That is powerful.
biblical. Yeah, you gotta get your name. You know, if it has a meaning, make people call you it. You know,
like
speaks
that.
you into your destiny. You know?
Oh,
All
speak
about
that destiny, brother.
Yeah,
all right.
all
Well,
day.
someone spoke it over you because you were just in one of the hugest movies of the year. I mean,
Yeah.
your movie brought in over $800 million worldwide. Did you have
Yeah.
any idea when you signed onto this project how huge it was going to be?
No clue. I mean, obviously the name speaks for itself, so there's definitely some pressure added there. You know, when you think about being added to a cast of this magnitude, you got the two biggest movie stars in the world, and you know, got Jack Black and Keturah and all these people. So it was definitely exciting from the beginning, but it was also like, you know, we had some big shoes to fill. So I was nervous and excited, and then, you know, when the trailer came out, we had a bunch of internet trolls telling us how we were destroying the legacy and their childhoods and blah blah blah. So I'm glad that, you know, we were able to kind of prove the naysayers wrong and kind of convert them over to our side. You know, we're 860 million counting, and, you know, pinching myself on a daily. You know, it's been amazing.
How do you deal with the naysayers? Because you're not the first person to have that sort of attack levied at you because you did a reboot. John Boyega went through the same thing as the first black stormtrooper.
Right.
So how do you handle that?
Man, you know what? Ultimately, I try to keep in mind that I do my job for the people that love me and vice versa. You know, it's not for, you know, I don't feed into any negativity. You know what I mean? Because anything that you breathe life into will just expand, it'll just grow. So I enjoy doing my job. I had fun doing it. You know, some of my favorite projects have been ones that have turned out to be duds. At the end of the day, I had a great experience on them. I came away with something for myself, and you know, was able to provide for my family off of it. And so it's a win-win for me. If people like it, it's icing on the cake.
Yeah, well, my family liked it. We enjoyed it. And you were
Appreciate that.
I love that he looked at me when he said my family, and then you looked at me as well. We're not related.
Well, we're family, you know, we family. TV family, yeah. But, you know, you play a high school guy who Kevin Hart becomes the avatar to.
Right.
So what was it like working? Did you get much interaction with Kevin Hart and The Rock?
Yeah.
I got to interact with them on a creative level, not so much on camera, because you know
separate scenes.
We're you know, we're shooting two different movies basically, but I got to see their creative process at the table reads and you know, cast meetings and stuff like that. I got to see them interact with each other. You know, I would come to set and watch them work as well, so that I could try to pull some similarities from Kevin and try to emulate some of his movements and, you know, craziness that he likes to say. All of his what the hells and all that. But yeah, so I got an opportunity to see them work, and you know, Kevin and Dwayne and all of them, they worked so incredibly hard. I couldn't imagine being as busy as they are and still being able to come and bring it every single day, day in, day out. So it was impressive for me. Kind of set the bar, set the new standard for me. And so yeah, it was just a blessing getting to just be a fly on the wall, you know, and see their process and everything. So
that is amazing. And you just keep landing huge movie roles. I mean, next one is with the legend, the man, Sam L. Jackson. My. What was that like working with him?
Gotta squeeze some mother F's in there for it to be a Sam movie. Don't worry. I won't say it. But yeah, I mean, that one That was a shock to me because I didn't even audition for the role.
Wow.
The director saw my reel, and you know, we sat down and we talked in Santa Monica at a hotel. We had a couple drinks and chatted about his vision for the role, and it was definitely something that I was looking forward to, a challenge I was looking forward to stepping up to. I've done a lot of family-friendly movies and stuff like that, but I wanted something with some edge, some gravitas, some weight to it. And he gave me that opportunity. You know, a few days later, they called me up and told me I was flying out to Thailand. And so, you know, I spent 3 weeks in Thailand with explosions in the jungle. It was beautiful. It was great.
Does it feel like to you that you have arrived? I mean, you're at the point already where you're only 30 and you don't even have to audition anymore.
Right?
Like, yeah,
They're like, hey, would you like to be in the next best movie in the world?
Let's cut that. I'm actually,
that.
I'm squeezing in an audition between this and my next thing actually in the next 2 hours. So I do still have to audition. I audition more often than not. It's always a slow grind, but I think the moment that you think that you've made it is the moment that you failed. So I try not to ever think of it that way. You know, it just gives you more ammunition and more motivation to work for the next thing. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop living too. So I'm just always trying to learn, you know.
And on the subject of learning, what sort of advice did these industry greats give you? Because you also worked with Ed Harris and Christopher Plummer, as well as Samuel Jackson.
Right. I didn't get any advice from them, to be honest with you. I'm more of a watcher. I like to. I'm not going to take from your time too much. I'd rather just watch you work and sponge from you that way. Suck all the energy I possibly can. But you know, something with Sam. Sam basically doesn't turn down a job. You know, he's not above anything. And I've always appreciated that about him because, you know, people have tried to come at his neck in the past and say that, you shouldn't be doing these kind of jobs, blah, blah, blah. He enjoys the work, you know. I think he learns something from each job that he does. 120 movies in, and he's still just as excited because he gets to learn something from each one as well. And so that's what I've learned from these greats is that they just constantly keep pushing the envelope, you know, and trying to improve themselves. You know, LeBron James gets better at something in his game every single year, and I want to be that guy. I want to be the most improved player every chance I get. So that's what this has been for me.
We got to back up a little bit. Tell us more about the film that you're in, The Last Full Measure.
So The Last Full Measure is a recap of a true story about Vietnam, the Vietnam War. It's the bloodiest day in the Vietnam War for me and my unit. I'm my squad leader. And we ended up getting ambushed, and we lose 66 men in 1966. And a soldier by the name of William Pitzenbarger, who was actually an Air Force medic, he helicopters in and comes. He's not even supposed to, he's basically off duty. He's not even supposed to be coming to help us. But he comes and helps us get out of this kill sack, and he saves a bunch of lives. Ultimately, he loses his life in battle, and 33 years later, we're trying to get him a posthumous Medal of Honor, the highest honor you can possibly get in the U.S. military. And Sebastian Stan plays the gentleman on Capitol Hill who's lobbying for that, and so he has to go back and interview all of the men who were saved. And Samuel L. Jackson, 34 years later, is me. And vice versa. I keep getting stuck in other people's
I know, right?
Yeah, you're like baby Kevin and then you're baby Sam.
Exactly.
Well, I'm always wondering, when you're playing someone who's like a real person, is there a lot more pressure to get it right or do better because the family's watching? Yeah,
absolutely. It's the second opportunity I've had to play a real person. The first time was in When the Game Stands Tall, a football movie that I did some years ago with Sony. This time was a bit different because my character wasn't as publicized, so there's not as much pressure, I guess, to quote unquote get it right. It was more about capturing the moment and the emotion of the scenes in that part. But yeah, there's definitely pressure. You want to. If I was playing you in a movie, I would want to do you justice. I'm not.
Especially if he sees it on set watching you.
I'm not as handsome. I'll have to get like a face graft to try to step my game up. But you don't want to let the person down. And so I try to stay in close contact with the people that I'm portraying. Unfortunately, the gentleman I was portraying this was no longer with us. My character gets shot a few times in the movie. If you look at my Instagram, you can see some of the shots that I took. But it's kind of hard to put yourself in the mindset of the terrifying fear that these soldiers must feel. That's why I have the utmost respect for anyone who, puts their life on the line to be in our armed services. But to kind of get yourself in the mindset that, I might die in this scene, and it becomes very real for you, in that moment, and you walk away from it with a lot of respect. So it took a lot to kind of get myself there, because I try to, remain positive. But for this specifically, you kind of have to go down a little dark path, just a little bit.
And how do
And then
you
afterwards,
do
you
that,
just gotta laugh a lot and try to like snap out of it, because I ended up going into like this weird depression.
Yeah, that's
one
what I can
time,
imagine happened.
Playing a different role that was kind of dark, so it was interesting.
And now, I know this is a true story and serious and everything, but did you actually like practice your dying scene? 'Cause, everybody's like, I gotta practice my death scene. Like, how am I gonna die? Like, do you like practice like,
I don't think people die like that.
Yeah, right. Well, I didn't die in this one, obviously, because Sam Jackson plays me 34 years later. So I didn't die in that one, but I have practiced a dying scene. Actually, when I did Vampire Diaries and Star Trek Into Darkness, I died twice in a year.
Oh,
and
wow.
I found out the first time that I was not a good dyer. J.J. Abrams came to me. I get blasted with like this, space gun, and supposed to blast 15 feet back. And so they shot me, and I just went like that. And JJ was like, "Are you gonna make a sound?"
Right, I'm dead.
Or...
Did it hurt?
So the next time I got shot, I was like, "Ah!" He was like, "All right, yeah, let's do that again." So I was like, "You know what? I gotta get better at this." So then, when it was time for Vampire, I got it right finally. They cut it from the movie.
So give us some advice. How do we practice that
how
death
does a
scene?
person properly die?
I don't know. It depends on where you get hit. If you're getting hit on your left shoulder, your body's kind of gotta.
So you don't just go.
And it's all in like this kind of like drunken gaze.
I don't know that this
Did we get it right?
Does this look realistic, guys?
You make the sound and then show us on this camera. You shoot us.
Who's acting? Are you making fun of that?
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. What's that?
Okay, you make the shot sound. Camera 3 will get us an our reaction. So you shoot us and we'll make a reaction.
Okay.
Ready? On 3, I'm shooting both of you at the same time. I'm crossing. 1, 2, 3.
Wait a minute.
Oh shoot! Oh hey!
Okay.
I think she actually kind of won you there.
Thank you.
Winner,
winner, chicken dinner. Even with my English accent. Thank you.
I'll keep practicing. I'll keep practicing that show.
She didn't do any of that. I don't know what's going on here.
He was expecting that.
Oh, okay. I'll practice during the break.
Yeah, so
and I'll give you all the bloody H's that you like.
There you
How
go.
about that?
The bloody
There you
H's.
go. There you go.
Gosh. Okay.
So what is next for you?
Next, I'm actually writing a series. I actually just submitted it to someone I can't
come
say.
on. They're not
but
watching. It's okay.
Someone great. I wrote a project that I have Taraji Henson on my eye for. I love her. Always have. Never know. We hope. It's up in the air. I don't know. But I just submitted a project that I think will be great for her.
Well, you put it out there in the universe and you'll get it.
Yeah. So I'm focusing on writing and producing a lot right now. Obviously, acting is my bread and butter. But it's pilot season right now, so let's hope I
never know what
get
happens.
a TV show or something like that. But
I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna
Another
happen.
one.
Yeah.
Another one.
I'm also working on a cooking series right now, so I cook a lot.
Wait a minute. You cook?
Now
do.
we have to delve into this because
I do.
I'm a big foodie. I
Oh, are
love
you?
cooking and I
Great.
love eating even more.
There you go.
Almost more than this one.
We
I
gotta
just
set
eat.
something
I
up
don't
then.
cook. I just eat. What do you
Tell
like
us
cooking?
about where this passion come from?
Well, I was 6 years old, waking up on Saturday mornings and flipping between Julia Childs and X-Men, like
Wow.
back and forth. And then Emerald Lagasse is like one of my greatest influences as well. And when I was 16 years old, I started working in restaurants. And shout out to Carrabba's Italian Grill, Florida. So I started working in restaurants. I worked in restaurants for almost 10 years, including here in New York, which was like my favorite restaurant I've ever worked at. And kind of started honing my cooking skills then. I got a lot of Caribbean influence in my family. They're all Haitian and Dominican.
Okay.
And I worked in a lot of European restaurants, so Italian and French cuisine, Belgian cuisines. And so I learned to kind of marry those two.
That sounds good.
So it's a lot of like very rich, bold flavors.
What was your favorite dish? What would you say?
My favorite dish, I make a champagne butter salmon.
You had me at champagne.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it good.
So it's a champagne beurre blanc sauce that I do with capers, shallots, garlic, onions. You slow bake the salmon, and then you pour the sauce all over the top
I'm
with a
scared of him right
little
now.
souffle. We do a little ratatouille
Wow.
souffle, and boom, boom. There you
Okay,
go.
so now
Got it.
aside from the champagne butter chicken, was it chicken or fish?
Fish.
I got lost
Salmon.
in champagne.
I
I got lost in
Fish.
champagne. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But what are you going to be making on Valentine's Day?
On Valentine's Day, damn, just put me on the spot. Okay.
Okay.
On Valentine's Day, I don't know, maybe do like a roasted quail or duck confit, something like that. You gotta get a little saucy with it, you know?
All the stuff on. You said roast a quail.
I know, right?
Just
quail.
any
Fancy right now.
Got to. A little bechamel sauce. That on the side with
What's
some
your address?
roasted.
Right.
It's four. No.
Oh, say right.
I'll
text
be
you at the
there.
show.
Oh gosh,
Hit
that's
me in the DM. I got you.
Hey,
Oh,
alrighty.
nah,
Thank you
damn
so
it.
much. Oh,
That
see,
sounded
now
wrong.
everybody's going to be
That
trying to
sounded
DM me.
wrong.
What you
Sounded
making?
wrong.
What you
Sounded
cooking for me? See, oh, gosh. Well, we hope you enjoy Valentine's Day and
Thank
get
you
something
so much.
special.
Oh, we will. Don't worry. We'll have the greatest time. I'll let you know how it went.
Bring me some doggy bags. Bring me some bags. Little sample.
See, the relationship expert said I wouldn't be able to find a man, yet here he is.
Bam. That was easy.
Thank you.
All right, now let's see if it lasts.
You're
All right,
killing
thank
me.
you so much for joining us.
Thank you
Continued
for having
success,
me.
brother.
Seriously.
Thank you, Chef
Appreciate it.
Dariush. Welcome back to Rise 360. We'll see you later.
Be right back.
Be right back.